Remember when I said I don't procrastinate? I don't procrastinate. Well, get ready for another round of it wasn't super duper in my control, but I've kind of procrastinated. Yay! Hello? Are you hosting the show today? There were actually 2 events happening for me this month, and one of them is still coming up. It is a family wedding. I am a bridesmaid. I don't have my dress yet, because I said I would make it. And then, you know, I got a little bit busy. This is not nearly as bad of procrastinating as last time. I think I still have like 2 weeks to the wedding. Let me confirm that. Exactly 2 weeks. I am leaving in exactly 2 weeks. So like, we're good. Obviously, we're good. Again, it'll only take me 1, 2, maybe 3 days at most to make this. But it does just crack me up because the last time I made a bridesmaid's dress, which incidentally was like my second ever sewing project, I was so nervous about it. I was afraid that I was gonna completely mess up, that I'd have to end up ordering a dress because it was just past the point of being fixable. So I think I made that thing a full like 4, 5, maybe even 6 months before the wedding. And then it ended up taking me 1 day to make, and it was perfectly fine. So, you know, I've grown in my sewing journey and capabilities and faith in myself. And I'm willing to wait. Oh, there's a hummingbird. Y'all, I want to put up hummingbird feeders outside literally every single window in this house. So anywhere that I am, I can look outside and hopefully see a hummingbird. What was I saying? I've completely forgotten. Nope, it's gone. Well, moving on. I am going to self-draft this one instead of just using a pattern, so, you know, it's always slightly more nerve-wracking. And I have 2 different designs that I could do, and I'm kind of still waffling back and forth between them, so I probably need to make a choice on that pretty soon. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. 2 weeks is plenty of time. Let me go dig my fabric out from the giant pile that is my closet. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. There are so many different ways to make the most of your day and accomplish tasks from the mundane to the creative. It can be really helpful to hear tips and tricks from others who are experienced in balancing multiple jobs, a side hustle, or their own business. So I've been watching Thomas Frank's class, Productivity for Creatives, Build a System that Brings Out Your Best. I love that Skillshare's classes are always available to you on your time frame. I can learn about organic Instagram growth from Emelina Calder-Spinelli while I'm embroidering, or take on Ashley Seaford's class in creative personal writing while I'm editing photos. So it makes multitasking a breeze. Or if you want to curl up, settle in, get cozy for the evening, and learn how to cook, crochet, or color grade your videos, Skillshare has a class for you. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so don't procrastinate on learning. Join today and start exploring your potential. And now, back to the fabric closet of messy doom. Actually, I did leave this fabric separate, like I packed it in a box that was actually labeled bridesmaid fabric. And I at least bought this like over a month ago, so I knew I wanted to be prepared. Oh, funny story about the fabric. So I went to Joann to get fabric that was the specific color of pink that I am supposed to be, and they had like no options, really nothing. This is still not like perfectly it. It was just the closest I could find. So I got this fabric approved by the bride. I bought myself everything that was left on the bolt because I think it was only like 3 yards, and I was like, that's not much for how I make dresses. And then I came home and was like, why does this fabric look so familiar to me? It's because I already have some that I bought at Remainders for way cheaper. So now I have 2 chunks of fabric, enough for me to make a much fuller skirt. So my first idea for this dress was to do like an off-the-shoulder ruffle kind of thing, sort of empire waisted. It has to be long, probably with a split in it, because that's always handy, and I'd probably throw spaghetti straps on there just because I do not want to wear something that is actually strapless at a wedding. The general concept of the dress would be super simple because it's just a skirt with like elastic right here and elastic right here. And this would be just like a gathered panel, pretty much like the Milkmaid top that I'm currently wearing. My only thing is that I can't really figure out how to attach the ruffle to this, but still have it unattached on the sleeve portions. I think I could probably like look at a pattern of something similar to this or look up a video and figure out. But if this doesn't work, my second option was to do something I'm very familiar with, basically like a dolman sleeve wrap dress with a sash here and a nice bow. I will say when I talked to the bride about both of these designs, she wasn't as cool with this one, although in the end she did say, you know, kind of do what you want. So I'm gonna go see if I can like look up a video of any kind, something, and figure out how you're supposed to do the attach a ruffle, unattach a ruffle, because if I can figure that out, I'll make this one. But you know what either of these dresses will have? Pockets! Y'all, out of every single dress I've ever worn, the ones that have most annoyed me by their lack of pockets are bridesmaids' dresses. You can't be carrying a purse, not during the wedding, so you just don't have anywhere to put anything, and you have to end up like running over to the reception area and putting them next to your place that you're sitting there and then coming back. It's a whole thing. And you know what? We could make it a whole lot easier for all of these people being bridesmaids if we just put pockets in their dresses. Please and thank you. Which yes, I'll do because I'm making my own. Big surprise to no one, I was massively overthinking this design construction, so after watching about 30 seconds of a tutorial and getting final approval from the bride, it was off to the cutting table. I decided to use one chunk of the fabric for all of the bodice and pocket pieces and leave the other chunk to be the skirt. And since I very much like to use as much as possible of whatever I have, I ignored all of my initial measurements and cut stuff out way bigger than necessary. I don't think I've ever worked with this type of fabric before, like all silky and slippery and such, so it was definitely interesting. Straight lines were a little elusive, but you know what? Oh well, as usual, I'm sure it'll be fine. I ended up with two bodice pieces, basically 30 by 15 inch rectangles with a chunk cut out for the pits, two thin rectangles to be the straps, some big ol' pockets, and little pieces to be pockets inside the pockets because yeah, purse pockets forever, y'all. That just left the ruffle, which I decided would be two 52 by 8-inch rectangles, and yeah, I just ended up cutting it out as like something by 15. I'm not even sure how long it is. I just used the entire remaining piece of fabric. Then it was onto the skirt, which meant moving to the floor because giant. I had told myself that I don't need to make it a full circle skirt. It can be just a half circle or a panel skirt. That's totally fine. And yet I was instantly, and I mean instantly, annoyed upon realizing that I literally can't make a full circle skirt because between the full length and the amount of gathering, I don't have enough fabric. Oh, hello, hello. This is annoying me.
What's annoying?
I don't have enough fabric to do a full circle skirt. But if I don't do that, can you help me? Okay, go in, go a little bit out. Pinky, are you being helpful?
No.
No, a little bit further out this way. Is that your sock? Sock. I debated all the ways I could squeeze the most swoosh possible out of the fabric that I have, and ultimately I was just not thrilled by any of the options. Until at last, I hit upon this one. Just go buy more fabric. So yeah, I think I have to make it a full circle skirt. Oh no! Yeah, I mean, normally I really try to make do with what I have, but normally I don't have any requirements on the dress either, so like, I would have just made it shorter. Since I can't do that, and I apparently am not at all willing to sacrifice on swoosh, 'twas off to Joanne to see if I could find more of this stuff. That's a lot of running over my fabric. Hello? Can you not stand on my fabric? Okay. I bought 4 more yards. You know, at this point, why not go for it? Go all out. Full circle it is. I also bought some other stuff, but that is, neither here nor there. Y'all, the Joanne that I'm going to now that we've moved is like twice the size of the one that I used to go to, which I always thought did not have a very good selection of fabric. And I guess this is the first time that I've walked through the actual fabric section, because I think before I've just run in to get notions and stuff. They have quite a good selection. Got lots of ideas. Still don't want to buy any of it because my brain is like, too expensive, even on sale. Ugh. I need a remainders haul soon. Anyway, so now I'm going to do a half circle for the front and a half circle for the back. Full circle skirt, because that is how I do. Oh. Look at your sweet little crossed paws. Are you a fancy boy? Oh, that dummy. That dummy, dummy, dummy. Okay, well that was exhausting as usual. The hair needs to go up. Post haste, much better. Oh yeah, I also got a hummingbird feeder and it looks like a pineapple. Honestly, I wasn't gonna get one yet, but pineapple. This might be a terrible place to do this. Yeah, I think that'll work. I do quite like seeing the pineapple out my window. I think I've just reached a point in life where I'm like, if a thing can be cute and unique in some way, then why would you want it to not be, you know? Which I think is why we've been struggling with furniture shopping lately, because Matt's pretty picky himself when it comes to furniture. And then I just tend to find everything boring. And it appears that our neighbors have decided to do construction, so back to voiceover. I do tend to be very unfairly annoyed by other people's noise. Like, we just had about 2 weeks of construction done on our house, so, you know, other people aren't the only ones making noise. But I wasn't here and I didn't have to listen to it, so yeah, I can pretend like it never happened. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna start by just sewing the straps into tubes and getting those turned right side out, so that is all ready to go for later. And then I'm going to get the inner pockets sewn onto the pockets, so that's all ready for later. And then we're gonna figure out that whole top part. The little top part thing that is a good amount of the dress. I also realized in retrospect, I think I'm just avoiding sewing at this time by talking more, but I realized in retrospect that I can't really just have these ruffles be as long as I want, because the front is going to be sewn on the front bodice. So it can only be as long as the bodice is. Same with the back, which means all of that extra length would end up being just the arm portion. So it would be like normal ruffle, normal ruffle, normal ruffle, ruffle. And that would look stupid. So I am probably going to have to cut down this enormous strip of fabric that I did into my original dimensions. Sometimes I just cut things bigger because I'm like, I have this much fabric, it'll totally work. And then reality sets in and it actually won't totally work. It's all good. After getting the straps sewn and the pockets inside the pockets added on, y'all, I did so much ironing, you'd be so proud. I sewed the bodice pieces together and finished the armpit edges and then started adding the pockets onto the skirt pieces. And y'all, sometimes you're just in a mood. And at this point, I was in a mood. I have no idea why, but I just didn't want to take the time to think through the proper way to add these pockets with French seams. I couldn't get into it. So I added them in this rather odd, janky way. Don't get me wrong, the seams are all still very French. They're running around the city with baguettes in their bag, and the pockets are totally usable and fine. And yeah, it was just weird how I put them in. But you know what? That's okay. It looks fine. It's totally functional, it's just weird as crap on the inside. And now I'm just describing myself. After that, I decided to call it a day. I will come back tomorrow refreshed and in a different mood. It might be better, it might be weirder, but it'll be different. And we will get this thing done. All right, y'all, good morning. My mood for today is still buffering, but I have high hopes. I think yesterday I started to get that tickle in my throat that implies that like maybe you'll be getting sick soon. And here's the thing, I handle being sick very well, but I absolutely hate the are you getting sick or is it just allergies or just a little tickle in your throat that'll go away period. Ugh, I hate it so much. Like, can I just get sick or not get sick? One or the other. But don't sit here and play games with me. I don't like it. Anyway though, it's mostly gone this morning, so I think it just might be like dry air. But regardless, I dressed as comfy as possible because that always makes me feel better. Yo, my mom was incredibly on the side of like, you need to dress well to do well at anything. There's an actual saying, isn't there? All I can think of is dress for the job that you want, and that's not what I was thinking of. But you know, like, we were homeschooled, so we constantly got the question that everyone wants to know. Do you get to do school in your pajamas? No, we did not. She was of the opinion that like, if you weren't dressed appropriately and nicely for the day, that you would just do poorly at anything that you attempted to do. And let me tell you, that might be true for some people, but big surprise, it is definitely not true for everyone. I work so much better if I am the comfiest I can possibly be. I also had a friend in college who anytime she was sick, because this was, you know, pre-COVID days when being sick did not mean that you didn't show up to class. But she would always like wear a dress and heels and do her makeup and do her hair. So we knew that like if she showed up to class looking extra cute, we were like, either you're performing today or you're sick. She always said it made her feel better to look nice when she didn't feel nice. And yeah, again, I was totally on the opposite side. I mean, I spent all 4 years of college wearing sweatpants, so there wasn't that much of a difference when I didn't feel well, but yeah, absolutely no effort is given when I do not feel good. Anyway, we're gonna get this done today. So the skirt is basically made. I just need to sew this giant waistband onto the giant waistband of the shirt bodice. From there, I can at least like try it on, see where it's falling, make sure that my armpits are okay. The top part is not gonna stay up until I get the ruffle on there, but for the first time I'll be able to check things. Right side to right side, like you know what you're doing. Yes? Boink. I'm gonna do this on the floor. Hello, the needy. Are you so needy? Oh yeah? That is the most unhelpful you have yet been. But how am I supposed to do work? Wow, you care a lot. Can I have this? Oh no. How's that? Compromise? Oh, okay. Now you go. Welcome back. Saved you a spot. That's dangerous. There's pins there. Oh, no, not on my pins. Oh. It's so dangerous. I just want you to be not on the pins, okay? You're a most special boy. After so much pinning with all help possible from the most helpful little boy, and then much sewing of pieces together, yeah, I basically decided I had done it terribly and unpicked the entire thing so I could start over. Sometimes it's the projects you think will be simple that kick you in the hiney. Good times. Yo, I definitely thought it was like almost 5 o'clock in the evening and it's just now 2. Sewing will do that to you, just completely throw off your sense of time. But all I have to do now is string the elastic through the channel around the top of the dress and then throw the straps on there, and theoretically I'm done except for hemming. I was kind of thinking about cutting a slit in the skirt and then adding like a ruffle or a flounce all the way down the slit and around the hem. But at the same time, I need to remember that this is a bridesmaid's dress, not like an over-the-top do anything you want gown. So it probably shouldn't be like too fancy or distracting. Do I have a smaller safety pin than this? I apparently do not. I think I can shove it on through here. Sure, yeah, that'll work. Here's some advice I will gladly take from a more experienced sewist. How do you keep your elastic flat while stringing it in? Because I feel like mine always gets folded in half or twisted around, and I've taken the time one time to sit there and, you know, feel it out and stretch it and flatten it all the way around, and oh my goodness, it took so long. So is there a special way to do that? Ugh. Uh-oh, I'm stuck. I quickly made a simple belt for the dress because it felt like it needed it, and then after adjusting the gathers around the top so very many times, I sewed on the straps. And yes, I'm eating Cheetos with my hands while sewing because, to quote Adele, I'm a grown-up and I do what I want to do. After that, I just had to get the entire circular hem pinned to the proper length, which I decided to do in my office because for some reason moving both my dress form and my camera was easier than relocating my laptop charger. Making it work, y'all. Also, this dress form isn't perfectly my size, although it was pretty close, and it's one of those like hard body ones that's really more for display than actual sewing use. But let me tell you, it has already been so incredibly handy for hemming. Like, a massive time saver. Anyway, once I got the whole hem sewn, that was the end of that. So let's take a look at the final product. I'm gonna wrap this up fast because I am kind of sweating more in this dress than I wanted to sweat before the actual wedding. Am I gonna have to wash this? Maybe? That turned out pretty well. It definitely has like an 80s prom dress or maybe a 90s prom dress vibe. Like I remember back in college, there was a dress in our theater costume closet that was very similar to this in design, and it was our theater professor's prom dress from high school. But it does feel like it's a bit elevated. The fabric is really nice. It's very drapey and flowy, and I haven't made a full circle skirt out of a fabric that's this light and flowy. It definitely makes me want to do it a whole lot more. I mean, the floor length full circle skirts. On top of that, this one being a gathered full circle skirt, so even more so, they are just for spinning. But when it's a light fabric and they can like easily catch the breeze and they do the little blip as you go around, ooh, this is why it was totally worth it to go out to Joann and spend money on more fabric for this dress, because like, look, we all have our own tastes in clothes, and my taste is swoosh. That is my aesthetic, is just swoosh. It doesn't matter if it's 80s themed, 50s themed, medieval times themed. As long as it swooshes, I am happy. Which is why even when I made pants, I made them swoosh. So yeah, the bride has approved. It is all good. It is finished. Still have like 1.5 weeks to the wedding. So I'm gonna go now, because it's my job to put together some games for the bachelorette party, and I should probably do that. Whoops. Later, taters. Squish, 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 squish. Oh, she thick. What? What? All right, well that's not helpful. Unnecessarily dramatic.